was the start of my last jam, so here it is again.
Welcome back. So today's video is going to focus on some design cues that can provide us with some insight into Sony's next generation PlayStation, the PlayStation 5. First, let's put this thing into context, courtesy of Eurogamer.net. Here's the full story. So AMD has collaborated with Chinese hardware manufacturer Zhongshan Subor to create a custom console design for its home territory. Now, first impressions suggest it's a hardware specification remarkably similar to Sony's PS4 Pro, at least in terms of GPU compute power, combined with next-gen Ryzen processor architecture. Now, the current iteration of this PS4 Pro Pretender is set to launch within the next month, taking the form of a Windows PC, though a dedicated console using a custom OS is due later this year. Now, this initial Windows PC release has a hardware build that quite literally hasn't existed in the PC space before. PCs usually use separate components such as a CPU, GPU, memory modules, etc. Now, however, this PC platform will use semi-custom silicon that takes the form of a fully integrated SoC, that's system on chip, combining x86 Ryzen processor cores with AMD's Radeon graphics. Yes, just like a regular console. Now, PC gaming has always been closer to the cutting edge of game development tools and technology, simply because PCs are used to build games, all games, regardless of platform. And I guess you're wondering just how capable this device is. Well, it features an RX Vega technology with 24 compute units at 1.3 GHz, pushing approximately 4 teraflops of GPU power. Combining Ryzen and Vega into a single chip is nothing new. AMD has already done it with its excellent Raven Ridge, Ryzen 3 2200G and Ryzen 5 2400G APU products. However, this Subor project is much more console-like in its core hardware design, and it will clearly be more capable. Unlike Raven Ridge, DDR4 system RAM isn't used. Instead, the new processor is connected to 8GB of GDDR5, just like PlayStation 4 and Pro. This offers a vast increase in memory bandwidth, of course, eliminating the primary graphics bottleneck AMD's APUs suffer from. The usual GDDR5 means that the Subor chip can basically double Raven Ridge's compute power, with far less possibility of hitting memory bandwidth limits. Again, similar to PS4 and Pro, the GDDR5 memory controller is integrated into the chip itself. Further specs haven't been revealed so far, but with 8GB confirmed and a 256-bit memory bus, again quite similar to PS4 Pro, this seems highly likely. Though no specs for memory bandwidth have been revealed, but to give you some idea of the window available, Eurogamer.net really compares it to PS4 Pro, delivering 218 gigabits per second of bandwidth, while a top-end GDDR5 solution as found in NVIDIA's GTX 1070 offers up to 256. This figure could prove crucial to overall performance, as unlike a traditional PC with separate CPU and GPU, AMD's integrated processors need to share bandwidth across both components. And if you want to read the article in full, you can find the link in this video's description. But that's where I'll end it. So here's the thing. There's a kind of irony when you've been hearing for years that consoles are weak knockoff PCs using weak mobile processors that are not a patch on a full-on gaming PC rig. Yet here we have a PC knocking off a console, and AMD have invested heavily in APU technology, pushing SoC configurations. Even Microsoft are pretty much making PCs that fit in a console-friendly sized box with Project Scarlet. But didn't those Steam boxes already attempt and fail at this? Strange times. It'll be interesting to read your comments on this. So the PS4 Pro has 4.2 teraflops of raw power, which includes an overclocked Jaguar CPU, 2.1 GHz, compared to the Ryzen-based CPU clocked at 3 GHz found in the Subor console. Now, how this all ties into PS5 and Xbox Project Scarlet next-gen systems is quite simple. We know AMD and Sony collaborated on an APU that is really likely only to be available to PS5 as a console and PC as a platform, but not available for a direct console competitor like Microsoft's Xbox. We know in order to achieve true 4K across the board, like every game, a minimum of 7.4 teraflops is required. And of course, there are those rumors of AMD Navi technology coming into the fold, though whether Navi is prominent as a feature for PS5 largely depends on production timelines and pricing per unit. What is interesting then is that AMD's Vega GPU keeps rearing its head whenever a potential next-gen console is mentioned. But the key lies in the Ryzen CPU technology, which should allow next-gen consoles to push out 60 frames per second gaming as standard, with 30 FPS reserved for those who prefer eye candy over general performance. I've already uploaded plenty of videos over the past 12 months regarding the CPU taking center stage over the GPU for the next gen. But what's also fascinating is that we've been told that Sony are encouraging first party and partners to implement performance mode and graphics modes as standard for PS4 Pro going forward, and of course PS5, effectively meaning any game on PS4 or Pro that had a 60 FPS option but couldn't quite maintain it, well, which is more often than the case, let's be honest, well, those games on PS5 using backward compatibility will allow for 60 FPS without a patch, though a patch will be required if the game only has a 30 FPS mode, as in the case with the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. Now, my advice is do not trade in those PS4 games you've completed but felt the experience was hampered somewhat by subpar performance, because PS5 is going to improve them exponentially. Imagine replaying God of War at a locked 60 FPS with no drops, or Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man repatched to run full 4K at 60 FPS. Make no mistake, when it comes to visuals, we've kinda hit a ceiling. Will games look better next gen? Of course they will, but don't go expecting leaps and bounds over what we've experienced today, because better graphics and effects, better anti-aliasing, better depth of field, better draw distances, textures, character models, yes, they'll all be quite prevalent in the next gen, but remember, both Xbox 360 and PS3, well, we already were pushing out stunning graphics and open worlds with special effects some 10 years ago. Can we honestly say PS4 and Xbox One was a generational leap, like PS1 to PS2 or OG Xbox to Xbox 360? Probably not. What we've got this gen was really much of the same template as last gen, only with more memory, a faster CPU and more powerful GPU. More of the same, but better. And I'm okay with that. But what say you? Share your thoughts and opinions on this topic, because that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video, but let's continue the discussion in the comments. And for more PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch news, subscribe to Foxy Games UK and hit the notification bell so you never miss content. Thumbs up if you like the video, and help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing the video. Consider supporting Foxy Games UK's Patreon for just $1, £1 or equivalent, and help us grow. You'll find a link in this video's description. Thanks for your kind support. And there we have it. Unfortunately, building work is going on in my home tomorrow, and my internet will be switched off as I'm changing over providers, so there may not be another video from me until after the weekend, Monday next week. I'm going to miss doing it for a short while, but I'll find something to do in the meantime, and I hope you'll all join me when we return. Until next time, always remember, play games, not corporations.